Lindsay, how the heck are ya?
I am so great, especially being here with you. Thank you for having me. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. We're getting to talk about romance. I mean, what could be better?
Nothing. Having romance, having the romance.
That's true. So tell me the difference between romance and a relationship.
Ooh, that's a really, do you know no one's ever asked me that question before? I think romance is something that you want in a relationship. You can have a relationship without romance,
Hmm.
but you shouldn't have romance without a relationship.
That
No?
makes sense.
No. I don't know. Listen, that's why I use the word practicalities because I think it's all about the practicalities to enhance the romance.
Who do you think it was that kind of put the wrong romance in our heads of how life is supposed to be? I blame Mr. Walt Disney himself, but I'm sure that there is somebody else. I mean, how do you feel women grow up expecting romance and relationships to be versus the practicalities of it all?
I mean, we are all conditioned from a very young age. Mr. Walt Disney definitely contributed to that, whether it's with princesses and doing certain activities as princesses that are, not really realistic to life, versus suddenly being in love by just looking at someone and having hearts come out of your head, and that equates to the person you're going to be with forever, right? And then, I think we're taught to just not settle, but not question enough about what we want and how we're going to get it. Look, I came of relationship age during things like The Rules and He's Just Not That Into You, which set up a game playing system for finding a partnership. Look, life is hard. You want to be with someone who you are thoroughly 100 million% yourself with. And that's what I want to help people do. This is 2025. Let's be real about who we are, what we want realistically,
Yeah.
and let's actually do the work to achieve it because that is romance. That is sexy.
Yeah. What age do you think it is that women switch from I'm a strong, independent person and I only want to be authentically myself to, oh gosh, I'm getting up there in years, quote unquote. I should
Hmm.
probably just settle for the next boat that, sails by. What age is that? Because I know that, I mean, I'm 40, I'll be 45 this year, and I
Okay.
have people constantly going, "Oh, well, you're not married yet. You're getting older." I'm like,
I mean, you look great. You sound great. You have the best energy. Like, it's so hard to tell people's ages these days. But so, look, I think this happens when those around you. So I think it's geographic in a bit. I think when those around you are achieving these life milestones and when you are not progressing at the same time they are, you start to question yourself. Look, that's what was happening to me and I was trying so hard to find it that I lost track of what it was. And I had to center back to myself to sort of say, what do I really need and want and how do I better communicate as I'm going through this process of trying to find someone so that I can find a healthy long-term relationship. You walk down everyone else's aisle and you start to question why your aisle is not being rolled out in front of you, right?
yeah. So let's talk about your story, which led you to this incredible book that we're talking about today,
Yes.
Romances and Practicalities, which I think is just fantastic.
Thank you.
Um, how did you get here? What was the jumping off point for this?
So I was that woman that you're talking about. I was so confident in my business life, my work in the entertainment industry, and I was tanking in my personal life. And I had to create this tool ultimately because I created this tool to help me, but it started really organically. So I was dating after dating after dating, and I finally met someone. And he was a Brit called the Brit in the book. And I was falling for him. And he very shortly, this is how the book opens, so I'm not giving anything away, but 30 minutes before our second date, he was told he was moving back to London. And right away, there was like wind out of our sails, right? But we kept on getting to know each other. And we were on a FaceTime one night, and this pivotal moment happened. I didn't know it was pivotal at the time, but I said something. Can't remember what it was. But his response to me was, I just don't know you well enough yet. And that was like, I was like shot in the heart. That was like, oh, what are you talking about? I'm opening myself up to you. But that was a gift. So thank you to the Brit who I'm now married to. That is also not a spoiler alert. But what he did was he had me confront something that in the past I would have run away from him, but I leaned in because I liked this guy and I thought, I'm going to just figure out how to get to know him better. What is he asking? I think he's asking for a different level of communication. And it's funny because I know him now, being with him for so many years. This is not a normal conversation that he would have had with anyone, but it came out, it was on his mind, and it allowed us to figure out a way to get to know each other on every level we could. So I realized we needed to be able to talk to each other about anything and everything. And that's where I created this tool that's questions based. I promise you, there are 250 questions. It is not daunting or scary. There are enough questions in the system to work for people at all different levels of their relationships, including if you're single. So, this is to bring you on a journey and to help you feel safe while finding your romantic love.
How hard was it for you to open yourself up and be so vulnerable?
It was harder than I thought, but we had established from the beginning a safe level of communication. And actually, I like to say he was the most logistically hard of anyone I'd ever been with, but the easiest person to be with me. And I remember I was dating this other guy a few years before this happened, and we're sitting on his sofa and he brings up something about circumcision. And he's like, so I would never circumcise a kid if I had a kid. And I was like, well, and instead of saying at that moment, well, I would, I said, well, then I hope we'd have girls because I was avoiding the conversation because I
Sure.
didn't want to ruin this already imperfect relationship. I was hiding myself. I was hiding my true feelings because I didn't want to not have it.
Yep.
And that's where this comes in. That's where this comes in of like, figure out who you are, be happy with who you are so that you can be a better partner to someone else. Not unreasonably, reasonably.
So when you have these 250 questions laid out, are there blocks of questions for the single person who are, in the dating process and trying to figure stuff out, and then the established couple who is still figuring stuff out?
For sure. So this book is not just a list of questions. Let me back up and tell you that that would not be kind of me and that would not be fair to you as a reader. So this book is a beautiful love story. My transatlantic love story runs through this whole book. And then I interviewed 100 people for this book, whether that's real people in relationships, subject matter experts, celebrities who've done the system. And that it's organized by chapter. So things like religion, family, money, sex, politics, routines, and rituals. And these are all things that you should talk to yourself about first to have a perspective on. And then there are so many different on ramps because everyone starts a relationship from a different place. So this is going to hold your hand based on whatever level you're approaching it at and take you into the system that way.
It's funny. So my boyfriend and we've actually been friends for like 15 years. And just
Great.
about a year ago, we were like, let's do this. We clearly, obviously love each other. And so
Were you
we, I,
scared?
we're still terrified. I mean, that's actually when he officially asked me to be his girlfriend. He said the thing that has held me back is that I'm scared that if something happens, I won't have you as a friend, which I can't deal with.
Right.
Which I think is great because we are, so such strong friends and stuff like that. But what do you say to those people who you like kind of know everything
I'm
about
so
everyone,
glad you asked.
but also you kind of don't know everything about everyone or about your
Don't
person?
shortcut it. Don't
Yeah.
shortcut it because you so the worst situation you can be in is like I grew up with this person. I've been to his house. I know his family. So you know what? I don't need to ask about his family and certain default questions. But then you get into a situation and you think you're on the same page and you're so far apart that it rocks both of your world. So start fundamental. right? Look, there are certain things, if you already know that he does or doesn't want kids, that kind of a thing, if you know he will not ever have dogs or cats or whatever, yeah, there are things you can circumvent. But you need to have these conversations. And what they do for someone who's, for example, been friends for so many years, that when it's crazy, when people sit down and start asking these questions to each other, whether you're having a walk over a glass of wine, a bowl of ice cream, whatever you're doing, three, four, five questions in, people are putting this book down and going up to the bedroom because it's super intimate to open yourself up to someone and have someone be open to you. It's like this moment happens and you're in, and it's beautiful. So I hope you guys do these questions. I need like a part two.
Oh, he's gonna be so thrilled that we had this conversation. I'll be like, "Look, honey, we've got questions." And we're like, "Ay."
Do you know what's so funny? I say to people, because people ask all the time, how do you get into these questions? And I say, whatever works for you. You know, you can ask a bunch of these questions and your partner or potential partner doesn't know that you're asking them, but you have a list in your mind of things you want to ask, or you can blame me. If that's how it works, blame me. Flash this book up and say, I'm loving this story. Can we just jump in and have some fun and questions roulette this thing or do it in a more prescriptive way? There's no right or wrong here. A lot of it is about awareness of what you should ask someone and the things that you should know yourself to be a better partner.
So, besides having a deeper, stronger relationship with your partner or discovering before it's too late that this isn't your partner,
Mhm.
what do you hope people get from this book? Why did you write this roadmap and honestly open yourself up even more to all of us in your relationship to write this book?
So this book brings together all things that are me, actually. So in real life, I've been a TV producer for a long time, and I have another book that I've written before this. So I'm a storyteller, first and foremost. Number two, I love love. I love love. And I'm that person who, if someone tells me they're single, I see my husband's face go, oh goodness, she's going to try and find someone for you. I love love and I
Me
love
too.
to write. So when I went through this experience, I just, and really created a system that worked for me and then other people. It developed really organically into helping people. It kind of combined my love of all those things with being a good friend
Hmm.
to wanting to help people. I'm so happily married. And I love, and again, the purpose of this book is not marriage. I love being a partner and a wife and being in the couple that I am. And I know that if I can help people get that feeling, love for themselves, healthier views on their family and how they grew up, healthier ways to communicate, then I can help so many more people. It's like I have a good friend who is a chef and she writes cookbooks versus just having a restaurant. And she says she can feed so many more people with her cookbooks than by just having a restaurant. And that's how I feel.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, let me ask you this.
Hmm.
How does your husband feel having the relationship put on display?
It's funny that you ask because he is a quiet, private
He's a
Englishman.
Brit. He's a
Yeah,
yeah.
he's got a wicked sense of humor, and he really believes in me and this story, and he's seen the effect that it's had on so many people and couples and relationships that he is all for it. Now, the whole joke was that, do you want to read it before it comes out? Because you probably should. But he and I have always said this book is secondary to our marriage. So of course he read it and gave me lots of notes before it came out. But he didn't restrict anything or any of the stories that I told because he really believes in the system.
When did you know that he was the one?
I wanted to kiss him halfway through the first date. So there was that. And I knew I would always ask friends, how do you know? How do you know? How do you know? Expecting that it would be some sort of movie moment like in Clueless when she's standing at the fountain and it erupts in multicolored spray of water everywhere. And she's like, I love Josh. That's what I was expecting. And when I realized that it wasn't going to be a movie moment, that I would just know in my heart that I would feel so safe and with the right person, That for me was key when I realized when I wasn't running my texts by my friends because
Mm.
I could just be me. That's when I knew he was my person. He would tell you he had a moment when we went away our first weekend together a few months in. We went to Stowe, Vermont, and it was over Valentine's Day actually. And we had this such a beautiful trip and this really beautiful moment that actually he was like, expletive, I got to do it. This is it. Like, I'm
Oh,
done. That's it. I guess I found her. Ugh, what am I going to do now? I guess I have to marry her. And that was it for him. He was like, it will not get better than this.
yeah. I love that. I love
I
that
mean,
so
do you
much.
know?
Oh, yeah.
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 Does he know?
I think so. He told me the other day that when he knew that he loved me and wanted to be with me, it was months before we actually started even dating. And it was, he and I were in his kitchen. I had just gotten done singing at a Memorial Day, like a Memorial Day kind of observation. His mom was there, my mom was there. And he said, we should sing a song together. And he started singing Amazing Grace. And so I just started singing with him and I found the harmony and kind of sang with him. And we were just singing a cappella in his kitchen to our moms. And he was like, that's when I knew.
Literally just got the chills. Like, what a beautiful, connected. That's the point, is how connected were you in that moment,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I've always, yeah.
Do
I've
you
kind of
feel
always.
like there are still things that you want to or need to ask him about?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, it's not like bad things. Like I am terrified
No,
of the
none of this
answer.
is bad. None of
No.
them are bad. That's
Uh-uh.
the thing. These are all questions that are positive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We have a lot that we know about each other, but again, I think that we have shortcut some of it because we've just known each other for so long.
So here's what happens actually, and you guys, you were friends for 15 years, you've been together for a year, and this happens with people who have been coupled up for a long time, even married for a long time. We stop asking each other questions. We stop talking to each other. We address the necessary things because our lives are busy.
Hmm.
So, setting yourself up by asking questions at the beginning allows you to keep asking them in the future. So, I say check in with him about your theories on finances and sex and families, because once you start a life of checking in, you will continue to do that versus what most people do, which is stop.
That's very important. I'm very lucky. My dad was a family counselor, and
Hey,
I know, and so I
how was
feel
your
like,
dinner table growing up? Better or worse than mine with two parents who were attorneys?
oh, oh, wow. Yep. Nope.
Different.
It's we're good. We're good. So, Lindsay, Romances and Practicalities is out now, right? I think
It
this would
has
make
just come out.
fantastic Valentine's Day gift, honestly. I think this would make a fantastic Valentine's Day
It's
gift.
super fun. And by the way, it can be a Galentine's Day gift. Get it for your girlfriends who need a
Yes.
little oomph.
I love it. In fact, I will go do that right now. You are the best. I really hope we get to chat again. You're
Please,
fantastic.
let's have a part two
Okay.
after you've done some of these questions.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you,
Thank
Lindsay.
you. Bye.
Bye, hen.